find that two-card combination of Rare Candy plus the Vikavolt to get yourself set up and going.
And there's a second Grubbin hitting the bench. Always better safe than sorry. And we see that Vikavolt in hand, but no Rare Candy or way to get it next turn.
No, but he does have an Ultra Ball, though, so he could, in theory, go for another Tapu Lele GX and use Wonder Tag in order to get a Skylar for the Rare Candy. But actually, thinking about it, he prizes second Tapu Lele, so he can't actually do that because he only plays 2.
Oh, no.
Wow, okay. Yeah, he's going to be very sad about that.
All right, meanwhile, for Fabien, Ultra Ball eyeing that Tapu Lele GX to get a Bridget. Remember, Garbodor is the key to this matchup, so getting those Trubbish down early is really what he wants to do.
And there is indeed the Tapu Lele one tag for the Bridget, getting down only 1 Trubbish, interestingly, and then 2 Zoroarks.
Yeah, well, of course, you need Zoroark because that's how you draw through your entire deck. And I think we've seen a few different explosive turn 2s where it's triple Zoroark, so anytime you can get that, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's very it's absolutely true as well. There goes a unit energy onto the Zoroark, onto the bench as well, and after that it will just be a pass from Fabien.
Right, and remember, the goal of this Tapu Bulu Vikavolt deck is to get that turn 2 Vikavolt. And looking at his hand, he drew another one for the turn.
Oh, that's not ideal.
Yeah, we might just see an N. It's never good when you N away a hand that's more than 6 cards.
Yeah, it's not. But at that point, that was the right thing to do because he must have already looked through his deck and realized that the second Tapu Lele was prized. So thinking going for the Tapu Lele for the Skylar is not a good idea, and therefore deciding the N is the better option.
And of course, even if he did that, he didn't have a third energy to attach to even attack this turn.
No, indeed he didn't. So
very smart thinking from him.
Yep. So what does he get off this end? Maybe something a little bit more manageable. Not just a handful of Clunk. What does he has the grass energy at least, so that will be able to attach that to the active, do a horn attack, but I don't think he has the Vikavolt in his hand. And no, he just reaches for the dice and does announce his horn attack for 30.
And wow, all right. There's the Float Stones.
Going onto the active and onto the bench Trubbish, and then following that up with an N. So all Fabien needs now is the Garbotox and Garbodor, and this is how he's going to try and really push for a lead in this game. He wants to really lock Vinicius out, stop him from doing any strong charges, and deal with the Tapu Bulus before they're able to one-shot him back.
Yeah, and of course, Zoroark is the key to all that, just being able to dig for more if he doesn't get that Garbotoxin in his hand off this N.
And does he find the Garbodor?
He finds a Garbodor, but it's the Trash Lanch one. He does have an Ultra Ball, but now he's going to be faced with the choice of, I can go for that Garbotoxin, or I can go for a Zoroark and maybe try to draw into the Garbotoxin. It's really a tough decision.
It is, but it looks like it's not tough for him, as he's decided actually, yeah, Zoroark is fine here.
Yeah, and of course, with the energy in hand, he will be able to attack this turn as well. But then there's always in the back of your mind, like, what if my opponent has Rare Candy Vikavolt?
Yeah, and I think it's the risk he's going to have to take at this point. There is... oh,
no, and looking at his hand, is there only 2 cards? Okay, there is 3.
Yeah, there's a double colorless.
Oh, he discarded a Puzzle Time, and the first card he drew off the trade was another Puzzle of Time.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's not ideal at all. And actually, it looks like with that second unit energy in his hand, he's opted to instead go for a resource management.
Hey, Ringaroo is a great manager. Any team would be lucky to have him. And this kind of mitigates the discarding the Puzzle of Time. It's like, well, I'm just going to put it back anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could have a manager which put that many items back in my discard pile. Vinicius has the Rare Candy Vikavolt in his hand.
So a turn late, but it is still good because no pressure was put on to him by Fabien.
No, oh my goodness, that's an insane draw that Vinicius got off of Fabien's N. So this Tapu Bulu GX is now all ready to go for take a knockout.
The question is, though, is he able to bring out that Trubbish and knock that out? Because that is public enemy number 1.
Yeah, and if he can do that, I'm sure that would be his ideal play. He has an energy to attach in his hand. I don't believe I see a Guzma, so no. Just a Nature's Judgment for 120 for a knockout.
And unfortunately, he did not get an energy or the Field Blower out of his prizes, but I think he did get the Tapu Lele.
Yeah, I think he did. So next turn, we'll be able to go for maybe a Field Blower if Fabien's able to find the Garbotoxin. Either that or maybe an Energy Recycler just to put the energy back any that you discarded earlier. Just, able to do something at least.
All right, double cutlass coming down on the Zoroark on the bench. Tapu Lele searching for that N, putting Fabien back to 6 and Vinicius to 5.
So unfortunately for Vinicius, that's Tapu Lele now being end away, but at least he can now access it with an Ultra Ball in case he doesn't draw much else of anything.
Now, again, Fabien's still just looking for that Garbodor.
Will he find it?
He does still have access to trade as well, I believe. And there it is in the very back of the hand.
Oh, okay. So now...
Oh, hold on. It seems Vinicius actually drew an extra card.
Oh, dear. Oh, no. And he's seen what it is as well.
Yeah, this new rule coming into effect. Essentially, drawing an extra card is a double prize loss, meaning Fabien will only need to take 4 prize cards to win the game instead of the full 6.
Yeah, and this is, if there's any spot you really don't want to make a mistake like this, it is in the top 8 of the Latin American International Championships. That is very unfortunate for Vinicius.
Yeah, especially with Fabien drawing that Garbotoxin Garbodor this turn. It's going to really put him on the back foot.
And it looks like the judges are just going to have a discussion here just to make sure that they resolve this properly. It's, again, one of these things that does happen sometimes, you know, when you're playing really fast and you want to make sure that, you know, you're drawing through your cards, you know, just pick up one extra, whoops, you know, especially, like, since Vinicius actually had a look at what it was as well, that makes it a bit worse for him.
Yeah, of course. There's so many cards that essentially do the same effect, and drawing 6 early, and then Cynthia drawing 6. It really does get confusing sometimes, especially because we mentioned before, they've been through 14 rounds of Swiss, and then now they're doing top 8 cut. Lights are on them, everyone's watching, and it's just nerve-wracking sometimes.
Yeah, of course, it's massive pressure, especially as we already talked about, considering how much is on the line as well. It's so easy to, you know, think to yourself, oh goodness, you know, if I make a mistake here, something really bad is going to happen. And that's when that doubt sets in. That's when you're actually more likely to make those mistakes that you're worried about in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it won't impact him too much, seeing as his start was pretty good.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. Especially with getting that Vikavolt out. And it looks like it has been resolved right now, so we are going to go back into the game. I believe it was a Grass Energy that was shuffled back into the deck from Vinicius' hand. And now Fabien is going to retreat the Garbotoxin Garbodor after evolving the Floatstone Trubbish and Parallel Cities himself as well.
Oh, wow. So this is great. Getting rid of 2 liabilities on the bench in Tapu Lele, but also the red side of Parallel City. Reduces the damage of grass, fire, and water Pokemon. So minus 20 damage, and Tapu Bulu's just usually knocking out for 210. So now it's 190 with the Choice Band. That's not enough.
No, that's not enough, which is absolutely huge. It means that it will be doubly important now for Vinicius to find that Field Blower, because not only does it mean he's actually able to do the abilities and Strong Charge and such, but it's what actually means he can take a KO at this point, because you can see he has the Choice Band, but unless he gets rid of the Parallel City, the 190 won't be enough. Yeah,
exactly. So it will look like he's going to try to dig through his deck, depending on what he has in his hand. And remember, 1 Field Blower prized as well, meaning he only really has 2 outs.
Yeah, and that's really not ideal in the slightest. There's a Lily from him. Just to let you guys know, by the way, you can see there from the screen, we have confirmation now that a double prize penalty was awarded, so Fabien will indeed now only need to take 4 of his 6 prizes in order to win the game.
All right, but it looks like, all right, I didn't have enough. I can just use my GX attack, deal 160 damage, Tapu Wilderness GX, and then heal off the damage that Zoroark did last turn.
Yeah, that's a really, really strong move. Probably the best move that Vinicius could do in that circumstance, given that he isn't able to take the KO. And of course, the nice thing about Tapu Wilderness is that it deals a big amount of damage while simultaneously not getting rid of Vinicius' energy.
Yeah, exactly. And now pressure is back on Fabien. He was sitting pretty, he's like, all right, I got this Garbotoxin up. I'm going to damage your Tapu Bulu, and then next turn I can knock it out and you'd have no energy in play. But Tapu Wilderness kind of changes that.
Yeah, it does. Now, we see here from Fabien a retreat of the damaged Zoroark, bringing up a Zorua, and what looks to be an Ultra Ball discarding a Rescue Stretcher and something else. I imagine we're going to see a second Zoroark here. Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, with that Garbotoxin active, Fabien doesn't even have access to his own trades.
No, this is the problem where you opt to go with the float stone onto the Garbotoxin. It does mean that your abilities will be shut off until the opponent finds a field blower, but that's the case for you as well.
Yeah, and it's very different from the other Zoroark Garbodor deck that we saw, I think, earlier today, where they were playing the Bursting Balloons. Fabien opting to go the full 4 float stone. And getting the double colorless, he actually has the field blower in his hand as well.
Wow.
Does he choose? Okay, he could have chosen to field blower his own floatstone, but he has the Sycamore in hand anyway.
Right. Okay.
Kind of playing it safe, because if you don't draw another floatstone, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, that's really interesting that it's like that, because thinking about it, for most of the time the appeal of that Zoroark Garbodor deck is, like we've already mentioned, that one-sided ability lock by putting the Bursting Balloon and then letting it fall off. But actually it seems like Fabien just has to rely on getting his field blows at the right time instead in order to do that one-sided ability lock.
Yeah, exactly. Playing 3 as well. And looking at that hand off the Sycamore, 2 double colorless, but not really much else he can try to play.
No, but the double colors is still a good find for him, because he can just do another Rise of Speed for 80 with it. Meanwhile, from Vinicius' side, he does find himself another Sycamore. He really needs to see a field blower off for this, and I don't think he's played one yet, so odds are with him, and I believe I see one in his hand.
All right, does he have the Choice Band as well, though? Choice Band would allow him to take the one-hit knockout on this Zoroark, and then Fabien would be just left with that Zoroark on the bench with the 160 damage on it.
Yeah, this is going to be the big thing here. So there's a strong charge. He's going to be able to find himself another Grass and Lightning and attach them to his Pokemon in any way he likes. I imagine they're probably going to go on the Mew. And he's actually going to do the other second strong charge at the same time. Now that he has 2 Vicavolts out.
Yeah, I mean, 2's always better than 1.
Yeah, indeed it is. And he's actually just going to put all of them onto that Tapu Bulu GX on the bench.
I think that's kind of conceding to the fact that, whoa, he does have the Choice Band.
He does.
He will be able to take the one-hit knockout on this Zoroark, and now he's down to 3 prizes. And remember, Fabien only needs to take 4 to win, but he still has 6 cards in those prizes. Those could be cards he might need.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. And a really strong find for Vinicius. Field Blower plus Choice Band being the exact 2 cards he needs to pull himself right back into this game.
All right, he does get a second Zoroark, and for the first time in a while, he's going to be able to trade. And we see a plethora of cards in his hand. Double colorless, Choice Band go down on the Zoroark, Floatstone onto the Garbotoxin.
And he actually benches the Kartana GX as well. Now, normally the Kartana, when it's benched, it does have that slice off ability, which allows you to discard a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon, but Vinicius doesn't have any, so that doesn't do anything right now.
Yeah, it's really there just to boost damage to Riotous Beating.
Exactly.
And maybe a Blade GX later in the game.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm begging for it, to be honest. I would love to see that. It's seeing one was already crazy enough. Seeing a second, I might just lose my mind. And the Floatstone on the Garbotoxin, Garbodor, and the active is obviously extremely important too. That combined with the amount of Pokemon and the Choice Band that Fabien has will be enough to pick up the knockout on this Tapu Bulu GX in the active. He's got a second Trubbish down as well. That's really good.
Yeah, that's very important. Being able to either get a replacement Garbotoxin up, or even later on in the game, a Trash Lance Garbodor, which Vinicius, I don't know how many items he's played, but it could be something that, like, well, oh no, like later on in the game, I just have too many items in my discard.
Yeah, exactly. And it was later on in the game, I mean, Fabien, because of that prize penalty, Fabien only needs to take 1 more GX knockout to win. So, exactly like you said, depending on how many items are in Vinicius' discard pile, that could be Fabien's win condition here. Just find another unit energy, find a Trash Launch Garbodor, and just announce Trash Launch and win.
Ooh, that'd be rough.
It would be indeed.
Oh, we get a look at the discard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh dear.
That's already enough.
Wow, okay, so this must be what Fabien's gunning for here. He must be thinking to himself, you know, find my last unit energy, find the Trash Launch, find the Guzma, and take the win that way.
Yeah, you kind of have to think if Vinicius might see this, he could go for the Guzma on that Trubbish to kind of take that option away from him.
Yeah, he could do, although I'm not sure if that's... He's attached a grass energy to the active Mew. Now, the important thing to remember about Mew is that being Psychic type, if he uses that to copy Nature's Judgment, even with a Choice Band, the Zorak Psychic resistance means that Nature's Judgment will do 190, and that won't be enough to knock it out.
Yeah, one thing also to remember, with Garbotoxin out, Mew is essentially useless.
Anyway, oh yeah, it can't even use the Memories of Dawn ability anyway.
But there is the Guzma. He sees the play. Trubbish will go down to a Nature's Judgment. And remember, keeping the energy on that Tapu Bulu, and now he only needs one GX Pokemon knockout for the win.
Yeah, that's very, very smart from Vinicius, recognizing that the biggest threat was, in fact, the thing that didn't really necessarily look like it could be from the obvious stuff. And now Fabien returning in hand with another Ultra Ball, knowing that, yeah, I need to get another Trubbish down because Trash Launch is my win condition here. And equally, I need to stop Vinicius from being able to Guzma another one of my GXs to take his last knockout for the win.
And yeah, that's all he really needs is a Guzma for the win. That Kartana GX just sitting on the bench saying, I have to be here, I guess.
Yeah, just for the, like you mentioned earlier, just to boost the right speeding damage. Now, another win condition that Fabien could have maybe had if he had a Guzma this turn is you could try and KO the Mew, hope that Vinicius doesn't have a Choice Band, and then follow up with a Blade GX for the win. But yeah, I think he recognizes that the
I
N
think
is
you
much
just
stronger.
want it too bad.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, but equally, I say that's possible, but it's not the best play for him here because right now he sort of recognizes that, well, he has actually got the energy ready in his hand, so that's really good for him. But he recognizes that if he does that, he just relying on Vinicius not drawing a Choice Band is really not optimal in the slightest.
Yeah, and I love leaving the Garbodor just active, kind of saying, well, this is probably the best one-price Pokemon you can knock out because then I could trade next turn, try to get that Garbodor with Trash Lanch. And look, there's Field Blower and a Skyla, but no Guzma in his hand.
No, and that's very important. So now, and his other card in his hand is a Grass Energy, so that won't be much help to him either. He needs to make a decision here as to what the best play for him is. He might actually just decide to pass, because if he gets rid of the Garbodor in the active, either by Field Blowing it or by KOing it, that makes Fabien more likely to be able to dig for his Trash Launch Garbodor and win.
Yeah, but then you also have the option of Field Blower the Floatstone and hope he doesn't get another Floatstone or a Guzma. Skyla for a Guzma to guarantee the win next turn.
Yeah, and it looks like that might be what he's opting for here. He has played the Skyla, so he's committed to that. But it would be very interesting to see what he actually goes for here.
No, but looking at Fabien's hand, he has the Guzma, he has the unit energy, and if Floatstone is discarded, that means all he needs is the Garbodor.
It's going to be a big decision here, and you're absolutely right, Jeremy. He does indeed Skyla for the Guzma, so he has the win ready for next turn. It's going to come down entirely to what Vinicius' decision is on this Field Blower, and whether Fabien is able to find what he needs off of the cards he has, either way, depending on Vinicius' decision. Yeah,
and thanks to that Guzma in Fabien's hand, he really can't hide anywhere.
No, he really can't, and especially considering he can't end because he's already played Skyla, so his supporter for the turn is already gone.
Man, what a past couple of turns. This has been so back and forth, and he chooses to pass, saying, all right, instead of giving you the option to draw 3 cards, you just need to draw it now.
And
the Field Blower, okay, so he Field Blowers his own Floatstone, giving him the option for trade. Puzzle of Time and a Guzma. Oh,
and then he gets it.
Wow. The second trade gets the Garbodor. Trash Lanch for the knockout. And I don't know, you must be happy.
Definitely. But I mean, that's a fantastic series either way, and a fantastic game rather. But Fabien will take game 1 in an unbelievably close fashion.
Man, how exciting! Garbodor. Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty good.
It's just Garbodor sneakily does an impressive amount of damage.
It really does, and especially when you have a deck like Tapu Bulu, which relies so much on its items to get itself out of that early dodgy part of the game. We saw that it really didn't take long at all for Vinicius to play 9 items, and at that point, Fabien didn't even need the Choice Band or anything else to get the KO back. He just had the Garbodor, and the energy for it was enough to KO the Bulu.
Yeah, and then of course, seeing the play of Field Blowing his own Floatstone. Wow.
Yeah, and that's exactly I imagine he would probably done that a lot over the course of the last few days because, and if you're not playing the bursting balloon version, you are playing this version that Fabien's playing, that's the way you have to do it. You can't just very willy-nilly attach a float stone and then just not have Zoroarks for the rest of the game. You need to know the right time to time that so you can make the most out of those trade abilities while you can.
All right, so what does Vinicius need to do in game 2?
Not draw 6 cards of an N to 5. I think that would be a good start. But no, other than that, he just needs to. I mean, that honestly was the biggest thing I think that actually ended up swinging it. Vinicius played it very well overall. He saw that the right plays there in terms of not opting to leave the Garbodor where it was and not get greedy with the KOs. So he just needs to play it very similar this time. It was to play it cool, not lose his head too much from that first win, and just keep calm and field blower.
Yeah, actually, if you think about it, he took the same number of prizes that Fabien did, and it was looking pretty good for him too.
It absolutely was. Now, I believe that's one Zoroark and Trubbish, a couple other things from Fabien's side, but nothing too drastic. Oh, that's
Lele as well as a Bulu and a Vikavolt, but again, he has multiple copies of each of those in his deck. Going first is very good here too.
It is, and he started with Tapu Bulu as well, so that's going to be a preferred start of him, I would say. And he goes for a Nest Ball for a Grubbin to begin with.
Oh wow! Looking at Fabien's hand,
yes,
there's double puzzle time, Zoroark, double colorless, and I think a Rescue Stretcher.
That's not good.
Oh no, I didn't see a supporter in there at all.
No, neither did I. That's double colorless. What was that? Yeah, Zoroark.
Oh, Tapu Lele off the top of the deck.
What a find. Fabien will be breathing a sigh of relief there. Benches that straight away and goes straight for the Wonder Tag.
And I bet he's just playing it cool and collected, like, I had it all the time.
Yeah, of course, why wouldn't I have had it? And it looks like deciding that he's comfortable enough with the draws he's going to get off of this trade with the Zoroark, he actually just goes for the Bridget in spite of not having another draw supporter in his hand.
I think I would have done the same thing. Zoroark's that good, and eventually you'll be able to find what you need because trade is just amazing.
Yeah, there's no arguing that. I think, especially, I think there would have been no arguing with it even after the few results we've seen in the last few tournaments. But even now, time and time again, how much excellence have we seen from the Zoroark variants at the high levels of play? Yeah,
and now action's back on Vinicius. He needs to find that Vikavolt. Having that Oranguru, but only being able to instruct for one card. Is that one card? Oh my! It is a Cynthia. These guys are throwing haymakers back and forth at each other.
They absolutely are. But I think the boxing match analogy you used last year was very accurate indeed. Just finding exactly the out after exactly the out, and now Vinicius is going to be crossing his fingers for a rare candy Vikavolt.
I mean, that's usually what you have to do with these Stage 2 decks, but you can't really get here without doing exactly that.
And I don't see a rare candy. It's a Vikavolt, but not a rare candy, so 1 out of 2, again, won't be enough for Vinicius, unfortunately.
And a third puzzle at a time off the top for Fabien. Not really what you want to see.
No, but if he's clever here, what he might actually do is he could play one of those puzzles at a time, just to rearrange the top 3 cards of his deck, and then maybe make it more likely to see a draw supporter, but he opted to not do that, so instead he draws a Unit Energy and a Guzma.
So the Guzma could be all right here. He could just take a knockout on a Grubbin and kind of force Vinicius to get that Vikavolt out, and if not, just take another knockout on a Grubbin.
That's very true, and it looks like that's what he's going to opt to go for here. So there is the Guzma, and he's going to bring up one of the Grubbins off of that. And it actually brings up the Tapu Lele GX, though.
Yeah, well, again, there's that Choice Band and the 2 energy on that Tapu Bulu. If you put your Zoroark in danger, that's all you really have in play. That's all you have going for you.
Yeah, and you really can't afford to take that risk at this point in time.
And wow, Skyla from Vinicius, rare candy, and we're going to see a Vikavolt this turn.
Yeah, we are. Although another really good thing for thinking about Fabien's side is that having brought up that Grubbin, it now means that the Vinicius is going to need to find a way to retreat it from the active. And he can do a strong charge here, and he gets 2 energy from that. But unless he has another energy in hand, he won't actually be able to get this Grubbin out of the active, because it has a retreat cost of 2.
Oh, yeah. And so basically, he's going to have to try to burn his hand down to less than 3 cards and hope for an Instruct for 1 or something like that again to really come in clutch for him.
Yeah, so there actually goes the... Oh, he's not attached to the active, so that tells me he must have a float stone or something like that to retreat it instead. Yeah, he does.
Well, that's just perfect.
Yeah. That'll do the trick, and so now Vinicius will be able to do the Nature's Judgment, or actually no, he just goes to Tapu Wilderness GX.
So I like this a lot, just because since your opponent's playing a Garbotoxin Garbodor, at any time they can shut off your abilities. So why risk it? Take the easy knockout, keep the energy, and then next turn you have the guaranteed knockout with that Choice Band.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Now, there is double puzzle of time, getting back the Tapu Lele that was just knocked out and able to grab an N off of that. That was actually really clever. That would have been another reason why he sent up the Tapu Lele. He was almost expecting it to be knocked out, because then it turns double puzzle of time into an out to his dead hand.
Yeah, exactly. Double colorless coming down on that Zoroark GX. Choice Band on the Trubbish on the bench, and then an N. So N's pretty good, although Oranguru might try to play spoiler a little bit.
Yeah, it might do. I think that the biggest thing for Fabien this turn is going to be whether he's able to find a Field Blower or not. If he doesn't, he is accepting that this Zoroark is going to be carried by the Tapu Bulu, and at that point he's probably going to be way too far behind to try and win this game.
Kept being down 4 prizes already in just the first few turns. And I don't think he has it. He does have access to trade a little bit.
Just one. If he didn't see it there either.
He does have Ultra Balls in his hand. He could spin the wheel again.
And looks like that's what we're going to do. And it looks like poor old Kartana going to be discard pile fodder again. Actually just goes to the Garbotoxin straight away. Interesting.
All right, like you said, it's kind of conceding to the fact we're like, yeah, you're going to knock me out, but now you won't have any energy after that.
Yeah, so that's still decent positioning from Fabien there, and looks like he's going to do some thinking about it, but it's just going to be a righteous beating. And now back on Vinicius.
And here's the one downside of using that GX attack. You won't be able to heal yourself this turn.
No, he's sort of using it to preserve the energy, which granted, still makes a lot of sense. He has the Field Blower though, with Skyla.
Skyla searching for the Field Blower, getting rid of that Choice Band, and now Vikavolt is active again, strong charge. He'll be able to charge up that Tapu Bulu on the bench.
This display from Vinicius is way too strong here at this point. I'm struggling. There's no reason for Fabien not to play it out. There's enough time left, more than enough time left on the clock to try and dig for a win condition. But I've got to call it for maybe a bit preemptively. I think I've got to call it for Vinicius here.
It's definitely a strong choice, just because going down to 2 prizes left now, it'll really come down to if Fabien is able to get Garbotoxin active and maybe try to trap him with an N. Yeah,
that's gonna be Fabien's way back into this game, if any. So there is the Nature's Judgment for Vinicius. 2 more prizes taken for him. Now back to Fabien as he promotes Azora. He has a Float Stone in his hand. He's got an Ultra Ball, Unit Energy, and a double colorless.
All right, well, the good news about that Field Blower, this Ultra Ball could get a Tapu Lele, could get a Zoroark, and he'll be able to use the ability to actually get a draw supporter for this turn. And most likely it'd be an N.
Yeah, and absolutely on the money, as always, Jeremy.
I'm just like that. And he actually has the Float Stone in hand as well. So we're going to see something special here.
Yeah, this is as we mentioned, this is going to be the way back into this game for Fabien, if any. He's got the double colorless on the active. He's just put a Float Stone onto the bench Toxin Garbodor, and he's played the N now. Can he deny Vinicius of that last energy and Choice Band to take the win, and the Guzma as well?
And I think it's also going to rely on that Trubbish on the bench as well. Remember, the card that was just the closer for Fabien last game was that Trash Lanch Garbodor.
It was indeed.
Oh, he gets the Zoroark and the Garbodor.
Big finds on both counts, and he's got access to... Well, no, he doesn't, because his abilities are locked, sadly. But if he finds another Field Blower, then he has access to more trades later on as well. That would be good for him.
All right, so this is definitely risky. 3 cards now for Vinicius. He really needs an energy and a Choice Band to win the game.
Yeah, or a Guzma would do the trick as well, because he can bring up a Tapu Lele and KO it.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Lily drawing 4 cards.
He gets a Choice Band. No, it's an Energy Recycler. Sorry. Got a little excited there.
Calm down. It's okay.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Inner focus.
Man, this Tapu Bulu Vikavolt deck is so fun to watch. And wow, a Lightning Energy. Did he end up not drawing a Grass either?
It doesn't look like it, no. So there goes an energy recycler at least. So that's going to be good for him. He's going to get some of those grass energies back. And now, is it the judges are asking to look at his discard pile?
Well, he only shuffled back 3 grass energies. So if there's more, you need to shuffle all of them.
Yeah, so yes, of course. So they're just making sure of that. And yeah, it looks like...
Oh. Darn, I was trying to get a good count of the items, but it went a little too fast before I realized. But there's definitely quite a few, especially with that energy recycler going in the bin.
Yeah, and so now Vinicius just announced his pass, and now it's going to be back on Fabien. He's bought himself a little bit of time here, so that's the good news for him at least. There is an Ultra Ball, discards a Bridget and a Trubbish, and he finds himself another Zoroark, so that's going to be everything on his field evolved up as far as it can go now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he goes for another Field Blower play to get rid of the Float Zone to try to dig. Guzma would be pretty sweet here. We see he already has that Float Stone, but it's just attached to the active. Sycamore discarding a double colorless, but 7 brand new cards here for Fabien.
Yeah, no Guzma, but Sycamore will still be pretty decent. And there is a Field Blower.
Field Blower, Parallel City as well, and Unit Energy, and then double Puzzle of Time. This hand is pretty sweet. A Guzma as well.
Wow, Parallel City, I think, being the hugest find there, because now a Guzma is not enough for Vinicius to win the game. Oh, wait, no, actually it is, sorry, because he's got the 30 damage on the bench Zoroark, but still, there's now less liabilities on Fabien's bench.
Well, yeah, now if he gets the Choice Band, he would still need the Guzma as well.
Yes. So, now what?
All right, well, Fabien took the knockout on the Grubbin and went down to 3 prizes. Here it is, drawing the card. And he needs quite a lot, but can he get it?
Yeah, this is going to be the struggle here. His hand is a little bit unworkable. He can't even play his hand down and then instruct because, of course, that Garbatoxin Garbodor is active with the Float Zone on. No abilities can be used, including Oranguru's Instruct. And it looks like that Heavy Ball was actually just for nothing.
Just for nothing. That adds 20 damage to Trash Lance's attack.
Oh, actually, so not even just for nothing, just for a disadvantage to you even. But it looks like he was going to go for the Sycamore anyway, so that gets played. And he does draw the Field Blower, though.
Field Blower, there's a Grass Energy in his hand. Does he have the Choice Band for the knockout? He does. All right. Vinicius takes game 2 and now evens it up. We will see a game 3 here.
Absolutely back and forth, and once again, I'm not sure if you guys can hear that at home, but the home crowd sure love to see that.
Oh, for sure, and it's exciting to hear and exciting to watch. Man, game 3, top 8. It seems every single game has come down to the wire today.
Yeah, absolutely, and showing the strength of both these players and both these decks. Now, even though going into it, like we already said, it can be pretty back and forth, given that you can, with the Garbatoxin Garbodor, Fabien can lock off Vinicius' abilities, but Vinicius does have that high Field Blower account, so he can counteract that, and that's exactly how we've seen that play out over the course of these 2 games so far.
Yeah, and then of course Parallel City coming in big too, being able to reduce damage, also getting rid of Tapu Leles that are stranded on the bench.
Yeah, it's really, really, really important that he's able to do that because, yeah, without it, he's really going to be... Because he needs Tapu Leles to set up. But even if he does, then the fact that with a Choice Band, that Vinicius is able to one-hit KO everything easily makes it very difficult for him. But the Parallel City forces him to really have to dig for that extra Field Blower, even if he preserves energy before getting ability locked.
Exactly. And going first, Fabien will be looking for just a quick setup with that Garbodor.
And if he gets that, then if he gets it early enough, then who knows, maybe he might be able to lock Vinicius out of the game, but it doesn't seem like that's been able to stop Vinicius in the last game at least, so
yeah. Lily proving to be a great card in his deck, just drawing into exactly what he needs.
Yeah, and Lily is obviously at its best turn 1, where you can just draw until you have 8 in hand. But even using it later on to draw until you have 6 is not a bad supporter.
Yeah.
It's, sometimes 6 is just all you need. So, why not just go for it so that maybe you have that turn 1 option.
Oh, and looking at his hand, he has that Mew and Lily to start off.
A lot of Trainer's Prize for Fabien this time. 1 double colorless too could be a bit annoying. But again, nothing that is absolutely game-changing.
Field Blower.
Ooh.
All right, not as bad as the previous games.
No, he's got 2 energy and 1 Field Blower prize, but he's still got 2 to work with, so the prizes here, not crippling either player too much.
And honestly, I think the best card for him in this matchup is essentially Skyla, because it allows him to search for that field blower anytime he really wants.
Yeah, I remember in a couple of the earlier Vikavolt Tapu Bulu builds, it wasn't even that uncommon to see people playing 3 or 4 Skyla, just because it dug you into both Rare Candy early on and Field Blower later on. But I guess people are deciding that now there's so many other important things that you want to play, so that reducing counts to say 2, like in Vinicius' list.
Yeah, I think made popular by John Roberts II, a former U.S. national champion. And here we see Ultra Ball for the Tapu Lele getting the Cynthia.
Oh, so the rest of his hand must have been pretty unworkable, because, I mean, normally he would like to get her a Bridget there, but obviously that wasn't an option for him.
But hitting 2 Trubbish coming down first turn. He also has 3 Puzzle of Time, I believe?
Yes, he does, and a Rescue Stretcher. Wow.
Wow. And with that Cynthia in the discard, Puzzle of Time is live.
It is, so it's good for him, because otherwise he might have struggled a little bit to carry on, but at least, at worst, if he doesn't draw Supporter, he can just double puzzle for the Cynthia and play that.
Nestball getting that grubbing down on the bench. And that double colorless on the Tapu Lele is a little bit worrisome, just because it could try to build up some damage on Tapu Bulus that Vinicius might be trying to charge up early.
Yeah, exactly. And so now, with the Nestball being played, and it's actually really cool that he started with the Mew, because it is, of course, a free retreating Pokemon. So we've mentioned so many times already that Pokemon with free retreat is just really good as a pivot to use with Guzma, or if you start with it, it can just you can promote anything, the right thing at the right time later on.
Yeah, and we actually see Vinicius opt for Cynthia instead of the Lily turn 1, but that was just because his hand was full of supporters.
Yeah, so you really just want to get rid of all of them, and rather shuffle away those cards instead of getting rid of them.
All right, he'll definitely need to try to find a little more setup. Maybe some Tapu Bulus, another Grubbin. But again, trying to do this without playing many item cards.
And that is the struggle, of course, because in game 1, that was exactly how Fabien ended up winning. There was 9 items in the discard pile, and so Trash Lunch was able to just take the KO.
Let's see if he has anything else this turn.
I don't think
like just a pass?
Oh dear, that's not good at all. He's got an Ultra Ball Rare Candy though, so next turn he can get a Vikavolt. But is that...
This is the awkward spot though. So Ultra Ball is such a great utility card. You can get your attackers, you can get your Tapu Leles, stuff like that. But staring down 2 Trubbish and not going first means the Garbotoxin could be active next turn. He might be forced to Ultra Ball some cards away in his hand, get the Tapu Lele, and get a supporter in his hand.
He opts not to though. Instead, he just attaches a lightning energy to the Mew and announces encounter.
This could be really rough for him here, just because if that Garbotoxin comes down, and this Mew will for sure get knocked out by this Tapu Lele next turn. It'll be insanely rough.
Gets the Tapu Lele off the encounter then. Fabien takes his draw. All he needs to do for an insane turn here is to KO the Mew and activate Garbotoxin.
Well, he has that Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball discard the other cards in his hand. For sure, I think he has to get Garbotoxin here.
Yeah, because we know that he has the Cynthia ready to go. Yeah, there it is. Now, it's just going to come down to if he's able to draw a tool off the Cynthia. If he does, he will be able to put himself in a really, really devastating position for Vinicius.
Yeah, and I think he has 6 tools total in his deck, 4 Floatstone, 2 Choice Band. That's pretty good odds.
That is pretty good odds, especially when you're drawing 6. Can he do it? This is going to be a very big Cynthia draw, folks. Hold on to your seats.
All right, I'm holding on.
I can see him. He's holding on. He's not joking. Does he get it?
He has a Choice Band.
Okay, so
it's a tool, not the one you want.
But I think here it's too important to not use, and he recognizes that and is okay with attaching a suboptimal tool. Gets the KO.
Well, exactly. When you see your opponent just encounter for a Lele, it doesn't really help.
No, it doesn't. Now, it looks like Vinicius' draw for turn was...
Did he draw a Sycamore?
No, he drew a Guzma, I think.
No, he had the Guzma in his hand. I think that's a Sycamore in the back of his hand.
Is it? No way. Is it?
Yes, that's a Professor Sycamore in the back of his hand for his turn. Ultra Ball, discard some cards, and he'll be able to... Oh, he's looking to discard the Rare Candy.
Well, I mean, the tricky thing is, if he red candies into the Vikavolt, it's not really doing anything apart from putting a bigger thing in the active that's harder to retreat. That is what he's going to go for ultimately, but I think that's why he was considering maybe not, potentially. But there is the rare candy Vikavolt.
Oh, he just had 2 in his hand.
Yeah. He had 2 rare candy in his hand, yeah, but he was debating discarding both of them at one point.
Oh.
So, but obviously not to go for that in the end. He did draw that Sycamore, like you said, so now it's going to be very dependent on what he sees off of this. And you can tell he's really being very careful about how he approaches this, because he actually just goes for the Guzma on the Garbodor. Wow, okay. Maybe thinking he can buy himself a turn.
All right, this is interesting, but Fabien actually drew the Floatstone off either the prizes or his turn. So Field Blower, Floatstone, your turn was essentially useless, and now I'm back at it. 60 damage, Energy Drive with Tapu Lele.
Yeah, and now Vinicius takes his turn. I imagine now will be the turn he plays the Sycamore, and he needs to find another Pokemon off of this, because otherwise, because Fabien, we won't be able to get the KO next turn, because another 60 won't be exactly enough. But if Vinicius doesn't find another Pokemon, he could potentially lose this game really quickly.
Yeah, so he does have a very good out here. Is if he can actually get a Field Blower, a simple Choice Band, Energy Attachment, and a Strong Charge to the Vikavolt could take a knockout on the Tapu Lele, and also discard 3 energies so it's not being threatened by another Tapu Lele.
Yeah, that would be really, really strong to be able to see that. This is going to be a really big draw to Sycamore here, so let's see. Is he able to find it?
There's a Choice Band.
I don't see a Field Blower, though.
Nest Ball. There's one card I couldn't see, but yeah, I think he would have slammed that Field Blower down.
Yeah, no, it's not the worst draw ever, but it's really not what he needed this turn. It'd be very interesting to see what he gets out of this Nest Ball as well. Does he just go for a second Grubbin or go for Tapu Bulu GX? It looks like it's going to be a second Grubbin.
Man, this hand is not what you've been wanting to see. If you're a fan of Vinicius or a fan of Brazil in general, things are really not looking good here.
And, it's funny as well, because I am kind of torn, given that Brazil is one of my 2 home countries, and I like Vikavolt Tapu Bulu as well. It is a deck that I've used myself in the past, and, I think ultimately I would be pretty happy if either of these players won, because, it would be, I like the deck from Fabien's side, and I know Fabien as well, but I'm also, into Vinicius. He seems like a really cool guy, and I think it's really cool that he's been able to make it all the way here. So, honestly, no matter who wins here, I'd be happy.
He does have access to that Floatstone in his hand, giving free retreat to anyone he attaches it to. Could kind of save that Vikavolt from being knocked out.
There's an Ultra Ball. He's now going to get the Tapu Bulu out. Now, one problem potentially for Vinicius could be if there's obviously this Vikavolt in the active gets knocked out, and Fabien has a way to he's got the Floatstone and he just passes after retreating to the Bulu.
Yeah, so this is fine. Bulu can suck up a hit and then just heal it off next turn.
Yeah, there's no way for Fabien to get a one-hit knockout right now. That Trash and Latch Garbodor, there's definitely... But I'm almost sure there's not enough items in the discard pile for the knockout to happen this turn.
At the beginning of the game, I started to try to keep count, but then I just got too drawn into the game that I know there's at least one. Two, because the Nest Ball and Ultra Ball as well. So actually, there's quite a few. I don't know if there's actually enough of the 9 to take the knockout.
But is there enough of a Choice Band?
It depends, but I don't see a Choice Band in this hand of 5.
No, just a bunch of Floatstones, Yoronguru as well, and an Ultra Ball, which gets used immediately, discarding the Floatstone and Yoronguru, going for another Trubbish.
Yeah, who needs Zoroark?
Not Fabien, apparently. Because Tapu Leles and Garbodors are the name of the game and the brew of the day. There's an Energy Drive for 40. Now it's going to be back on Vinicius. He needs still to find a Field Blower.
And remember, he only has access to 2, essentially, because 1 is prized. Oh, there's a Skyla in his hand. That does have the option to go get the Field Blower. His hand wouldn't be much after that, but it would allow him to take a knockout, at least, with Nature's Judgment, but it wouldn't heal off that 40 damage.
No, because he doesn't have the Choice Band, like you said, so the Nature's Judgment do 150. It wouldn't be enough to KO the Tapu Lele GX.
All right, and here's another item being played, Heavy Ball.
potentially creeping into danger zone territory here. Every single time that an item gets played from Vinicius' side, Fabien's just thinking, that's 20 more damage Trash Launch is doing. Just keep feeding me, please.
That's 2+ powers essentially to every one of my attacks. Here's another one, even though Field Blower is a necessary evil here.
It's more damage to Trash Launch, and I'm wondering now, actually, with that many items being played, can Fabien now very easily follow up with this Trash Launch Garbodor to knock out the Tapu Bulu?
I honestly think he might.
There's the third energy being attached to the active Tapu Bulu GX. That will be enough now to do with Nature's Judgment, and we do see, just before that gets announced, a preemptive preemptive Tapu Lele GX using Wonder Tag for Sycamore, knowing that it's very likely Fabien will have another tool to attach next turn.
Yeah, all 3 energy that is in play for Vinicius on that Tapu Bulu, but I don't think they're long for this world.
No, there is 1 energy actually on the Vikavolt GX.
Oh, yeah, that's from the earlier turns.
Yeah, so on the Vikavolt, not non-GX, sorry.
Oh, he missed the Field Blower in the prizes.
Oh, not again. So, I mean, it's pretty high up, isn't it, in the prizes, so that's why I wasn't able to get to it just yet. And there is an Ultra Ball from Fabien.
Again, so his hand going into Vinicius' turn was not good. It was Ultra Ball card. Like, you really can't Ultra Ball forward Tapu Lele because of that Float Stone that was on that Garbodor. But kind of saying, well, I'm doing stuff, you're not really doing stuff. If you want to do stuff, you have to get rid of my stuff, and then I can do more stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. I think the other unfortunate thing for Fabien is that he had to play out his entire hand with the Ultra Ball in order to get that supporter, which meant he had to discard the Float Stone, and he hasn't drawn a replacement tool, although he has 2 puzzles at a time.
Wow. What a hit off that Cynthia.
It's really, really strong, so now he'll be able to play 2 puzzles at a time, get back one of the Float Stones and something else, re-trigger the Garbotoxin, and I'm almost sure he has enough for a knockout now.
Does he have access to Choice Band as well?
I believe so, because yes, there was one discarded. He attached one earlier and it got discarded, remember?
And so it really just depends how many items are in Vinicius's discard.
And he's just having a think here, because he's got to be very careful about how he approaches this. He's got double colors in his hand, which it goes on the Tapu Lele. There goes the 2 puzzles at a time, and no, he actually just holds on to them for now. Decides that he doesn't actually want to put the ability lock back on just yet.
Yeah, well, it's also better to save it, because if this Garbodor gets knocked out, you can just puzzle a time it right back.
He can, of course, that makes sense. And with the energy too. Wow, that's a really, really great forward thinking there from Fabien, realizing that although he might get knocked out from this, with the abilities being on again, it's more important to just have access to Trash Launch and trade with a really efficient attacker into Vinicius's 2 prize worth GXs.
Yeah, because remember, I think we might actually have a chance to see another Blade GX come out, because another knockout on a Tapu Bulu or a Tapu Lele, one of those GX Pokemon, then all you need is like, all right, Blade GX, take the game.
If that happens in Game 3, Jeremy, I'm telling you, I don't know if I'll be able to contain myself. There it is.
And then here's the end, definitely something he wanted to play. And remember, this end's actually very important. There's no Zoroark GX in play for Fabien.
No, normally, it would be absolutely fine, because he could just use trades to draw back into this puzzle of time again, but now those puzzles of time are gone from his hand, and that forward-thinking play that Fabien was thinking that would be able to happen is suddenly potentially not a possibility. It does depend on what he redraws off of this end, of course. Gets 3 cards from this. What does he see? He's gonna
he's letting us sweat it out a little bit.
Yeah, he is. There is a Nature's Judgment, of course, not discarding energy because he doesn't need to.
Puzzle time, Choice Band, and a Bridget.
There's 1 puzzle at a time. He draws a Zora that won't do it for him. That is unfortunate. He can play the Bridget just to thin out his deck a bit, but wow, that is a very timely end for Vinicius.
And now, will we see a Choice Band go down on that Garbodor? Just kind of like kind of have to now.
Yeah, but possibly, but now it's like, hold on, this Tapu Bulu GX in the active has 3 energy on it already. Do I gain enough out of even putting this Choice Band back onto the Garbodor? Because what if I need to trade, for example, next turn?
Oh wow, here's a puzzle of time, rearranging the top 3 cards. A Zoroark GX, a Zorua, and an Enhanced Hammer. 2 of those cards are not what you want to see. Zoroark might be okay, but now you definitely can't put that Choice Band on the Garbodor.
No, definitely not. And not only that, of course, but if no deck rearrangement happens, then the problem with the Zoroark is that he knows exactly what 2 cards are going to trade into, and both of them won't be useful.
That is exactly right. It kind of seems like he's locked for a turn where can't really do much, and he's going to rely on this Tapu Lele. But here is the Skyla getting the Choice Band, and he'll be able to Nature's Wilderness GX to take the knockout and completely heal this Tapu Bulu.
A massive swing turn for Vinicius here as he's able to use the Skyla for the Choice Band, as you just said, and not only being able to knock out the Tapu Lele, but being able to heal off everything. That is...
I honestly think this is game.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because...
You'll save the energy for next turn and then just knock out anything with Nature's Judgment.
And not only that, but he's set up the Vikavolt in the background with his own attack just in case. Vinicius might have the game here, even though it's not actually over yet, but... Oh, wow. There it is.
Tapu Wilderness GX, heal the damage, have a fresh Tapu Bulu with 3 energy and a Choice Band. And, of course, Zoroark, discard. You already know the 2 you're drawing, and that is game. Vinicius Lopes moves on to top 4 of the Latin America International Championships with Vikavolt Tapu Bulu.
Huge congratulations to Vinicius. Incredibly well-fought series. Very deserving to moving into the top 4. What a game.
Wow.